The destruction of water and supplies by Asheville police 2 nights ago went viral and put the city in the national spotlight. Today, city leaders made attempts to move forward. That medic table was torn down, was back up tonight. And staffers say that they were allowed to keep that table up this evening. And today, Asheville Police Chief David Zack issued an apology on YouTube about the destruction of the medical aid station. And we brought that part of it anyway to you earlier tonight at 6, but we wanted to show you more right now.
For these actions, I am truly sorry. Some may find this message to be too little, too late, and that's fair. Yesterday's statement was inadequate in addressing your concerns, and I apologize for that as well. I spoke with a lieutenant today who was on scene for the destruction. He spoke to me with raw emotion when he explained the pain he was experiencing at the trauma he saw in the eyes of one individual staffing the tent. This is something he will never forget. Even more so is knowing this will forever impact her trust in law enforcement. I can only imagine the fear other workers at the table experienced as well. Officers approaching in helmets, gas masks, and shields are intimidating, especially when they're yelling directions.
The people who are protesting, I understand why they're upset.
Hendersonville's Police Chief Blake says the public should respect them.
I do not support those who want to show up and perform criminal acts based on the fact that they are protesting.
Blake says it's critical for viewers to realize peaceful demonstrators and vandals committing crimes or angrily confronting officers are not one and the same. As a black chief, he's acutely aware of the importance for screening for bias.
For us, it's not been difficult to recruit. We have 2 vacancies now.
With 7 applications in.
You know, honestly, I can't tell you why this continues to happen.
Katrina Thompson is Winston-Salem's police chief.
This incident that occurred, the actions against George Floyd, has set us back in law enforcement for years. We'll be recovering from this in this profession in terms of recruitment and retention for years.
In her department, screening involves this.
We have an extensive suitability screener that's done by a psychiatrist.
Both are pained by Floyd's death, dismissing any arguments by critics who question circumstances around Floyd's initial arrest.
In the end, that was bad police work. Regardless of what this individual was on, regardless of what he did, he didn't deserve to have someone on his neck, full body weight, to take the life out of him.
Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter!
From America's beginning to now, there have always been protests.
I mean, the common thread is equity and equality and human rights.
Western Carolina University anthropology and sociology professor Peter Niekars says today's protests for racial justice mirror past events.
Disrupting traffic on a road. Martin Luther King did that. Marching in the streets.
Today's protests augmented by social media.
It has enabled people to mobilize more quickly. What's the same is that the issues or the grievances of the movement are still pertaining to long-term and deeply embedded racial inequality and systemic racism.
Both Niekars and Southwestern Community College sociology instructor Bucky Dan differentiate between Black Lives Matter protesters advocating for change and those joining in to disrupt.
My guess would be, even if we went back to the 60s and the civil rights era and the riots went on then, that while I'm sure some of that occurred, I think we see more of that going on today.
Dan says he sees more divisiveness now than the recent past.
The tone and the behaviors that leaders show, I think it does matter.
The political climate at the moment is one that makes people feel as though we are no longer, as Americans, concerned about racial equality.
Niekars says causes can take different paths these days.
The Me Too movement took place almost entirely online when it first started.
Nikar says that's been extremely effective in the movement against sexual harassment and sexual abuse. The Black Lives Matter protest, he says, is picking up steam on the ground.
When you see thousands of people in the streets that are marching, you know they care about it.
People can begin to think about what's the best way to move forward in a constructive way.
I think people are paying attention now.
Respect! Respect!
Hundreds of people gathered tonight at Pack Square Park for a peaceful call to action.
It was really powerful, just seeing everybody out here for the same cause, for Black Lives Matter.
Members of the Black community shared their stories of what it's like to live in Asheville.
I ended up just speaking just because we had the opportunity to.
Hearing victories alongside the tough moments.
And it was really powerful for it to be led by our Black elders.
A crowd of all colors listened.
I just felt like it was really important to be out here with everyone else instead of sitting at home.
Tonight, very different after 4 nights of protests in downtown Asheville that have started peaceful and turned tense later on in the night, with tear gas and arrests made after people were warned to leave after the curfew.
It's actually surprising. I actually just came out alone to check out the visual. You know, I felt like tonight would have been more peaceful.
People asked police to be accountable, many hoping their voices and presence here tonight will bring change.
It does feel like finally things are maybe starting to shift.
People saying they hope it will bring an end to racial injustice and bring justice to those who have lost their lives to police brutality.
It won't be enough. We got to keep going.